All right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Today is Saturday, August 10th, and the Yankees were taking on the world champion Texas Rangers in Game 1 of a doubleheader. Carlos Rodon on the mound, Terrence Cam here to talk about it with me. My recap, your reactions, coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
New York City.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
All right. How's it going, everybody? Nice win for the Yankees today. The rain is over. Baseball is back on the menu. Runs and hits back on the menu. Yankees break out for 12 hits, and they shut out the Rangers 8-0. Couple of games on the menu today. Got a doubleheader, second doubleheader in 4 days. TK, kind of crazy. Hey, you guys get hurricanes out there?
No hurricanes, but half the state's on fire. And we got an earthquake the other day. My entire apartment was shaking, which is a very freaky feeling. I'm an East Coast person. I'm not used to earthquakes. They obviously happen out here all the time. But I was in my car at a red light once, and your car just starts shaking. It's a very odd sensation.
Yeah. Well, I've been in one earthquake. I didn't realize it was happening, but it was just kind of a mild, it was actually 50 miles north of us, and we could just kind of feel it where we were. But I just realized I got some stuff on my shirt here. I got some grease. I was eating pizza, so I look like a schleb. But anyway, Yankees pick up a big win in Game 1. Let's talk a little bit about this game here. I've always liked watching Nathan Eovaldi as a pitcher. I liked him when he was with the Yankees. I love his split-finger fastball. He was a guy who threw 100 miles an hour, but for a long time he got hit anyway, and it wasn't until he developed a cutter after he left the Yankees that he really became dominant. But the Yankees got to him today. Gleyber Torres got things started. He continues to heat up offensively. Maybe the pressure is off of him a little bit now that the trade deadline has passed. Another couple of hits for Austin Wells. The Yankees knocked Eovaldi out after 3 innings. Wells also had a 2-run single off the bullpen, 2-run double off of Eovaldi. Judge had a big day. He's creeping up towards 330 with the batting average. Imagine, TK, he hits 330, 340 with 60 home runs. You're talking about the best offensive season of his career and probably since Barry Bonds in 2001.
Yeah, it's starting to get scary. This is video game numbers-esque. This is numbers you put up with your Road to the Show player in MLB The Show, with the sliders turned all the way up. It's starting to get stupid. He's getting the Bonds treatment. They're intentionally walking him. It's pretty upsetting to see, actually. I actually have some thoughts about that. I remember Michael Kay was mentioning about maybe making some pretty radical rule changes to baseball to try to... the biggest problem with baseball compared to the other sports is he made this point, but in the final minute of the game, Steph Curry has the ball. Yeah. In the final drive of the game, Patrick Mahomes has the ball. Baseball, because of the way that it's structured, doesn't have that. So I was saying, how about in the bottom of the ninth, the lineup resets to your leadoff guy, so Aaron Judge gets the at-bat. It's a super radical change, but you got to play
bottom
around
of the ninth, not bottom of the ninth, maybe bottom 12, bottom 15.
Yeah, but you just got to get a little funky where you're trying to give your star player an at-bat in the biggest moment of the game. You can't have something where it's you can't play. Because essentially that's what the Blue Jays did with Judge when they walked him. Yeah. They took the bat out of his hands.
I hear you. That's still a little bit too radical for me to change the batting order in the ninth inning. That also takes away the unsung hero getting the big walk-off hit, right? The big walk-off home run a lot of times. So anyway, we'll talk about it as we move forward here. Let's talk a little bit about Carlos Rodon. He had a pretty solid day today. He walked 5 hitters, which is too many in my book, but only allowed 3 hits, no runs. He threw 110 pitches, 14 swings and misses. His pitch mix was much better today. 60 fastballs, 26 sliders, 15 changeups, and 9 curveballs. So he was throwing the kitchen sink out there to get out of some jams. Some self-induced jams, by the way, because he was walking guys. But 2.22 ERA over his last 4 starts. Opponents hitting 151. TK, how you feeling about Carlos Rodon at this point?
Feel really good about him, especially since the last few starts. I'm going to nitpick a little bit. I'd like for him, obviously, to have a little bit more command. You don't want to see that many walks. That's why he didn't go as deep in the game as he could have. I was actually really surprised that they sent him out for the 6th inning. I didn't think they would, but they did. You got to applaud his mentality when he's out there, though. That guy's a dog. He wants the ball. He never wants to come out. I'm sure he was in the dugout and Boone was like, hey, you want to go back out? And he was just like, hell yeah. Like, he definitely was the one, I think, who was probably adamant about that. And I've been saying this before, but I think a 12-6 curveball development over the offseason will take him to another level. I think that pitch would be really good for him. I'd love to see him develop that. Maybe a little bit of command and put away guys a little faster so he can get deeper into games. But all in all, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. He already throws a curveball. It's just the shape, you know. If he could just change up the shape a little bit, I mean, it could be a nasty pitch. But he did throw 16 curveballs today. So let's talk a little bit about the future infield here, because Oswald Peraza hit another home run yesterday. You were adamant, and I was in agreement, that they were going to trade him at the deadline. They did not. They held on to him for some reason. We got Caleb Durbin back in the lineup. Yorbit Vivas is getting on base at almost a 400 clip in the minor leagues. Jazz Chisholm went deep today. He can play both second and third really well. They still have DJ LeMahieu under contract. So I'm just thinking about this potential long-term log jam while we have some time here in between games. How do you set it up when you got Jazz Chisholm, Vivas, Peraza, Durbin, Oswaldo Cabrera, who had another hit today, and then DJ LeMahieu, all his infield options next year? I think DJ's probably going mostly to the bench if he's even still on the team. But, you know, who's going to be your third baseman? Who's going to be your second baseman? How do you line it up?
All right, so Torres is gone. He is. I like Jazz at second, but he's played a really good third base, so I'm pretty comfortable with having him over there right now. Yorbit Vivas, he's a kid. And so is Durbin, so you don't really know what he's going to do at the next level. He could be amazing. He could not be. Oswald Peraza is a weird thing because to me right now, yeah, he's raking in AAA, but every time he comes up, he stops hitting. He's like a quadruple A player. You know what I mean? So
well, his first time up, he did pretty well. He hit 300.
Yeah, for sure. But they've kind of treated him unfairly. I don't know why they kept him. They should have traded him. There's a weird, like, you could have traded him for some depth that you needed, some pitching. You always need pitching. And I definitely think he had some value. Maybe they'll trade him this offseason, and this strong finish of the AAA season will get his value back up a little bit. So it remains to be seen. But yeah, there's a lot of infield options. That's why DJ having the 6 years instead of 5 is such a killer, because if next year was the last year of his contract, it's way easier to have him ride the bench or even eat the last year of the contract if you want. The 2 years is a killer, and I knew that was going to be a problem when they signed him. But yeah, Peraza, I like it, but I'm probably going Chisholm at third or second, depending on how it shakes out. We know Peraza can play third. Yorbit and Durbin, we got to see what he does. And Oswaldo, I like him off the bench because he's a nice utility piece. And
I just realized that autocorrect changed Durbin to Dunham for some reason, so I fixed that. So sorry about the typo on the screen. No let's preview Game 2 here before we get to the recap. So we got Gerrit Cole on the mound in Game 2. How are you feeling about Gerrit Cole? His recent numbers not been great, 5.09 ERA since coming back. How are you feeling about him?
Yeah, he's still in April right now, April, May. I don't think he's really locked it in yet. I think we saw it last year with Rodon. Guys who don't really get a lot of spring training licks struggle out of the gate. Even Judge, who struggled in April because he wasn't locked in yet. He didn't get his timing down. So I think it's just a matter of time for him. He is probably the best pitcher in baseball. I guess you could argue Tarek Skubal is up there now too, and probably even Paul Skeens is in that conversation. But yeah, Gerrit Cole, yeah, man, he's just gross. But he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. I do think he'll figure it out. He's an absolute pitching savant. He's a professor of the game. I think it's just a matter of time until he gets those mechanics locked in, and he's Gerrit Cole like we all know and love.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he breaks out tonight because the Rangers are struggling offensively, and Cole's had a couple days rest to just kind of sit around and work on mechanics and things like that. So I feel like he's gonna bust out tonight. All right, let's get to the recap here because the Yankees
let's get it going.
Shut down the Rangers. Yankees got on the board first, and we'll move through this quick because we got another game here starting in about 15-20 minutes. Yankees got on the board first on a base hit from Gleyber Torres. He has low-key been using the right side of the field much better, and thus he's hitting much better. His numbers have been much better. Other night, he almost hit that 3-run home run. Rain kind of knocked it down. But I think he's been swinging the bat better, TK. What are your thoughts on Gleyber?
Yeah, the best version of Gleyber Torres is when he's going right center, and that's his approach. He starts to not be good when he's trying to pull the ball all the time. His approach has got to be you take the fastball to right center field, and the hanging breaking ball, you pull it for a home run. I'm sure that's what Rousing tells him every day, but then that kind of seemed like it went out the window when he got up in the box in the beginning of the year. But Gleyber Torres, I think at this point, he's probably he knows he's not coming back. I know he desperately wants to, and he desperately wants to be a Yankee, but he's not coming back. Even if he was putting up a great season, yes, they would be much more reluctant to let him go, but it would still be a conversation of whether or not they want to re-sign him, just because priority number one is re-signing Soto. I'm sorry, Gleyber Torres is not Juan Soto. It's not even close. We all know that. So I think it would still even be a conversation, even if he was hitting, let's say, 270 with 20 home runs at this point. But with him, good for him. Good for him. Try to do a little salvaging with the contract that he is going to end up getting. I wouldn't be surprised, Derek, if he signs like a Blake Snell sort of 3-year deal with opt-outs after 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah. It's a shame because it looked like he was really on track for a monster career. Before the COVID season, I remember there was this graphic that came out. Do you remember this? Where it came out and it projected, it was his Fangraph projections for like 5 years, and it was like A-Rod numbers, like 320, 35 home runs, 45 home runs, 47 home runs. It was like, whoa. So, it's definitely been a disappointing Yankees career for Gleyber Torres in terms of what we thought he could provide, but glad to see he's getting it going. Maybe he can get hot in the playoffs and, like you said, get a little bit more money. Carlos Rodon worked into and out of trouble in the second inning, kind of lost the zone a few times today. Bottom 3, Austin Wells with a big 2-run double into the right field gap. Wells is becoming a dangerous hitter, TK. How you liking Wells?
I'm loving what I'm seeing. And at the beginning of the year, you mentioned this. He was a very unlucky hitter when you look at the deep metrics. And I think that some of that luck is really starting to turn around. And I was thinking this during the game, and I haven't even mentioned this to you, so I want to get your thoughts here fresh. But I'm feeling, and I'm making this call right now, sophomore breakout for Austin Wells.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is his rookie year. I was thinking it was his second year because he played last year, but he didn't play enough to qualify. Yeah, he's a guy, I think, he's going to have a monster season one of these years because he's got such a sweet swing. The only thing that's going to hold him back is that he's a catcher, and catchers get beat up, right? I mean, you catch foul tips off the hands, your knees get messed up. It's an exhausting, tiring position. You get just beat up all year long. And that's why guys don't play 140, 150 games at catcher very often. So I think that's the only thing that's going to hold back his offense. But I see no reason he can't be a 20 home run guy. He can't, hit 280, 290. Like, he's that type of hitter, and that's huge if you're a catcher. So,
and his defense has been great too, which has really been a plus because that was a concern when he got up here. But he's got to be the starting catcher at this point. Trevino has got to be the backup. But yeah, I totally agree with you. 280. 25 home runs, I would think. And like you said, catcher beats you up. He's not going to be Adley Rutschman, but I definitely think he can be a very, very serviceable 20 to 25, if he has a great season, 30 home run guy.
Yeah. So Rodon walked 2 more guys in the fourth inning, but pitched out of it. He pitched out of some jams, but he uses a lot of pitches to do it. That's why he was 110 pitches in the 6th inning today. Bottom 4, Judge ripped his 3rd hit of the game, RBI double into the left field corner. I'm glad the Rangers are pitching to him a little bit, but they might not pitch to him today in game 2 based on what he did in game 1. Wells followed up with another 2-run rope back up the middle to make it 6-0. At that point, it was kind of a blowout. Dominating 5th inning for Rodon. He was still up to 96 pitches at that point, so you knew he wasn't going to be out there very much. I was worried the bullpen was going to get a little bit spent, but Ron Marinaccio stepped up and did a nice job. Bottom 5th, Yankees tacked on RBI single from Juan Soto. Let's talk about Juan Soto. We haven't really talked about his potential contract in a while. Where do you stand on Soto right now? Like, how much do you think he's getting based on the year he's had? Because he might put up a 9-WAR season at age 25.
He's getting at least $50 million a year. I think probably more. I think this is where it gets really scary for a Yankee fan. If he leaves, I can accept it unless he goes to the Mets. If he goes to the Mets, that'll be, and that has nothing to do with us. Like, they're not in our division. They're not even in the same league as us. But just the optic of that would just be a really tough pill to swallow. And why are the Mets serious threats? And I think the Mets are the biggest threat to take him. It's in the same market. He doesn't have to move. I think he likes New York. Steve Cohen's got all the money in the world. He doesn't care. They have the Verlander and Scherzer contract coming off their books, so that's a lot of money clearing off their payroll. And he's literally the perfect guy for them to sign right now. He's a perfect fit. They got a lot of young minor leaguers coming up. He's a good guy to build their team around. And I do think Steve Cohen is going to go absolutely berserk. And he has Scott Boras as his agent, so he's probably going to end up taking the most money. Now, I do think that there's a level the Yankees go no, and they back out of it, where let's just say Steve Cohen goes absolutely berserk and offers him a 15-year contract with an average annual value of $70 million, which would just be absolutely absurd. The Yankees are not doing that. But if the Yankees, let's say the Mets go like, oh, we'll go to 55, and the Yankees are like, we're not going higher than 52, go up to 55 is my point.
Yeah. I mean, but then, Mets are just going to go, well, we'll give you 56.5. That's the thing that scares me about Cohen. He's going to outbid everybody. So to get Juan Soto back, I think you're going to have to convince him to take less. And that doesn't seem likely. I mean, I've heard that he was a Mets fan growing up. And Cohen, he overpaid for Scherzer, for Verlander. I mean, he's not afraid to pay well above market value. So I can honestly see him getting 65, 70 million. And so I honestly do believe that this is Soto's only year with the Yankees. So we'll see. Rodon was done after 5 2/3. We talked about him. Final line, 3 hits, no runs, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts. The 5 walks, not ideal, but I cannot complain about 5 2/3 shutout innings. ERA for the season down to 4.18. He is now 13-7 on the season. Any way you slice it, he's been miles better than 2023. I would categorize this season as streaky. He's, to me, the pitching version of Giancarlo Stanton, just hot and cold. We had a nice performance by Ron Marinaccio to save the bullpen a little bit. Couple of nice plays on defense from Ben Rice. And then Jazz Chisholm with the cherry on the ice cream sundae.
That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
I love his home run follow-through.
Yeah, he's got some swag, man.
19th home run of the season, second hit of the game, ties his career high, and just like that, the Yankees win Game 1 of the doubleheader.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
I miss John Stern.
I did too, man.
Yeah. They had a new guy on today, right? Craig
I didn't
Carson,
listen to it.
No?
Oh, Carton? Yeah, people were talking about it.
I think that's what they got now. But actually, Derek, I'd like to respond to a comment real quick. I got Yankee Basher at 21 who asked me, Terrence, do you get heat for wearing Yankee gear in LA? I went to LA with my Yankee gear. Thought I was going to get jumped, by the way. They was mean mugging me. Hashtag Dodger faithful fans, LMAO. I actually did go to a Dodger game. I went to the Dodger game against the Marlins when Jazz was still there. And there's a meme about it because the guy was saying Yamamoto throwing a no-hitter at this point, and Jazz took him deep for the first pitch of the game. I was at that game. It was hilarious. No, I literally wore my hat. I was like, I'm not afraid of that. Are you kidding? I'm going in the Yankee hat, and I didn't really get much anyways. And if anybody said anything, I'd be wearing it proudly anyways. I don't care. So
I feel like Dodger fans they're not like scary people. They just live in LA, and they're not the kind of hardcore fans because they have, I mean, sure, they're big time fans, but they also have, the Lakers and stuff. Like, they have a lot of sports.
They're harder Laker fans than Dodger fans.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So, all right, let's hand out the belt. Who are we going with?
This was a tough one, but can I give the honorable mention before I give the belt out?
Let's go ahead and give the honorable mention.
Okay, so we went with Carlos Rodon as the honorable mention, and we are giving the belt to Mr. Austin Wells.
The mustachioed one. That mustache is legit these days, man. It's starting to grow down the face. Got the
Goose Gossett.
Clue Haywood, a little bit of Thurman Munson in there, but Austin Wells picks up the belt. The Yankees take Game 1, and we got Game 2 beginning here in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and move along real quick to our final thoughts, and we can wrap things up and get this show on the road so we can all watch Game 2. So TK, Orioles and Yankees are battling for first place. How you feeling about the state of the division, man? You think we can take this thing down?
I don't know. You know that meme in SpongeBob where he's like, "Now let him have it." And he's like, "You can have it," with the ice cream. That's literally what they're doing, man. They both are just like losing games. You cannot lose 2 out of 3 of the Angels. That was just egregious. And this team keeps going back and forth since basically the skid that they were on. And hopefully they can keep it going. But you just got to hope that the Orioles are also not playing well while we're not playing well. But now they got Holiday back up, went yard 3 times in a row. He may have started to found something, so they're going to be scary, man. I really, really think we have a series with them. I think it's in the Bronx. It's the second to last series of the season. It's a 3-game set. That series, I think, is going to be who wins the division.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I agree. That's going to be must-see TV, man. Must-see TV. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back, or I'll be back. Terrence will not be joining for Game 2, but I'll be back after Game 2 with the post-game show. So tune in for that. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. Hey, like Jazz Chisholm. I'll see you guys next time.